And we're going to do a little acting out. This is not a Joy business class, it's an animal class. No, I'm just kidding. Animal mime. All right. Hey everybody, welcome to the Joy of Business out there in live streamland and here in Noosa, Queensland, Australia. Woo! And I'm going to start with saying thank you to the translators. I'm really super excited because Joy of Business is getting out there to many places in the world, and I'll be going to Japan, and I know I've got the French on there and the Turkish on there and the Polish, etc. So it matches the energy of what I'd like to see in the world. Matches the energy of what I would like to create as a future on this planet. So I'm incredibly grateful for everybody who's involved in that. And this is a taster. We have one-day classes, two-day classes, we have facilitator training, we have lots of yummy stuff. But this is a taster. If you were in class today, you would have heard me say that there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if I need my hopes and dreams bars run with where I'd like you guys to head. But if you have any questions, please use the microphones. They're all around the room because there are people on live stream and they would love to hear the profound questions that you guys have as well, okay? And yeah? No? Mr. Christopher Hughes over here is he's the manager of the Antique Guild, Gary Douglas's antique shop in Brisbane, Australia, next to the Stanford. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. This is just a taste of what he's got over there. But I actually asked him if he could bring the table in here. It's related. I wanted to try and get you guys to have a look at what future you would like to create and what future you would like to create with business. So my first question would be, is how many of you have decided you don't like business? Be honest. I'm not going to walk around and there's a couple of people looking around the room, you know. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Now they're coming up and it's like, so what if you decided business is that it isn't? And everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So to me, and it's like, your life is your business. You wake up in the morning and it's like, that's your business. What are you creating today? So many people I see as I've done these classes have defined business as you have to own it, you have to make money from it, you have to have employees, or if you're working with somebody else, it means that you have nothing to do with that business. And it's like all of these misconstrued ideas about business. What if business was creation? And what if creation was business? What if you never got it wrong and you were never right? Okay, so one aspect of this is what I'd like to have a look at. If you just play with me tonight and have a look at what you'd like your future to look like. Okay? Now, a lot of you have probably done this exercise or done something like this, and it's like, I call it like an awareness of your future. And it's like, start looking at what you would like that to look like. Like when I, 18, 19, when I was at school, people used to talk about going to college or getting married and having kids, etc. And I was like, I want to go overseas and I'd like to own my own business. They were the two things that I was demanding that my life looked like and I had in my life. What do you want your business to be? And I was like, I don't know. I just want to own my own business. To me, that felt like so much fun. It felt like something that was so tangible and malleable that I could change it all the time. It felt like I wasn't restricted. And it's like, how many of you feel restricted with the word business even? And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You know, we just got the proof I'm getting my book translated into another 4 languages. There's already 7. And I got the proof for the French one. And it's really funny to see Joy of Business in all these different languages because the significance that people put around joy and business, like I've been told, people are like, oh, I can't come to your classes because I don't have a joy of business. And isn't that a prerequisite? And I'm like, no. You just need to wake up and have blood running through your veins. It's okay. It's like, we'll have a look at some tools and maybe change something for you. But to look at the words in all the different languages, it sort of takes you out of what you've decided business is. So everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So hang on a second, I just want to... So when I started to look at was, I wanted to own my business and I wanted to travel. So I left to go overseas. I told everyone I was going for 6 months and 3 years later I was still overseas. having a great time working in many, many different industries and traveling all around the world and meeting lots of people, doing pretty much whatever I chose to do in that 10 seconds. And then I came home and I had no money. And I had to move back in with my parents, and I was like, that's not as much fun as I thought. So then I was like, all right, and everyone patted me on the back and were like, well, you've got that trouble out of your system now. You know, time to settle down and get a good, safe job. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, this has just begun. So even though I listened to what this reality was projecting at me, and how many of you are buying into the projections and expectations, separations and rejections of your family, this reality, your colleagues, your friends, etc., and everything that is truth, we destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So I started to demand of myself, and I didn't tell anyone, because I was smart enough to get that no one heard me. Or no one was like, yeah, go for it, Simone. Create everything that you want to create, you know, and how many of you actually have that around you? Or people more like, oh, you should be a little bit more careful. Or, you know, is that a good, safe job? Like, how much money you're earning? Or they put it into this linearity, okay? So I started looking at it and went, all right, so I need to ask for money to show up. And I need to travel. I'd like to travel and earn money at the same time. So then I started an importing business. And I mean, I've done a whole lot of different things, many, many different industries. And how many of you have had a zillion jobs, and have you been applauded for it, or have you been judged for it? So all the judgments that you've received and have been projected at you, and you've decided that they're more real than the choice that you have available, will you destroy and uncreate it? Yes. Times of God's and right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. My analogy is always, what if you had as many projects, as many businesses, as many revenue streams as you have programs open in your computer or your sticky notes or, you know, your notes on your phone, whatever that is? Because do you ever just have one? You have all of these. What if they were all revenue streams? You as a humanoid are allowed to have a lot more than what you've been willing to ask for and receive. So I want you guys to have a look at this and start getting what it is you would like your future to look like. So I was like, travel, own my own business, and then I started to ask for money. Now I also had a justification for money. I was like, well, I'd like to ask for money to show up because I'll do good things with it. And it's like, how many of you have a justification for why money should show up in your life? And I went through that for a long time. and then I went to phase 3 of going, well, sorry, no, I didn't have money in my life. I was refusing it. And then I was like, I will, you know, it wasn't about the money is my excuse that I used. And then I was like, well, I'll do good things with it. And then I was like, it took me a long time. What if I just had money? What if I just had money in my life and it was okay and it wasn't a judgeable offense? So everything that is, in any way that you can relate to any part of that, will you please destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Money, entering money into the demand and the request will create your future as well. So start looking at all these different things. And one of the stories I wanted to tell is about you, Chris, is Spotlight? No. Is many years ago in Perth, Australia, I was actually doing a Joy of Business class. And Chris was asking questions and we were looking at what he wanted to create in his life. I don't know if you remember this. And one of the things that he was talking about having a winery, right? Owning a winery. And so I kept asking him questions about the winery because the thing is what I see too is people do something like this and go, I would like to own a winery, and then they make that the solid thing. Oh, I have to get a winery, and if I don't get a winery, then I failed or I'm wrong or I couldn't achieve my dreams or whatever that is, okay? But what I did was I kept asking him questions, and what we got down to it was that he wanted people to have this elegance of living. He wanted people to be able to enjoy themselves. He wanted people to be able to live outside their comfort zone. And the interesting thing is that's what he's creating now and not making that the end result of his request and demand, but it's like, it's not a winery. Yes, he drinks wine, and I'm sure if he owned a winery, it might not be profitable because of friends like me. But he's running this, I'm doing a little promo for you. Because he's running, I mean, he does these, like I listened to him at lunchtime talk about this piece of jewellery and he just goes blah, 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 about the pearls. And I was looked like, how do you know all that? And it's like there's an awareness that he has about the jewels that is incredible. It's like Tim and the way he knows about the planet and the earth. And I mean, I can listen to Tim talk about grass like for an hour and I'm not bored. I'm like, tell me more, you know? It's like there's all things that you have that create a future for you that maybe you haven't been willing to acknowledge. And would you be willing to acknowledge that now? Everything at that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So if you want one of these, I think they're up the back. But Chris is actually, he's got some stuff over there to have a look at. And I was in the bathroom, as you do, and there was someone, I can't remember where she is, trying on some pearls. And she looked at me and she goes, oh wow, these feel really nice on your skin. And I was like, yeah. And it's like, if you haven't tried something like that, like that's the energy that I know Chris desired for people to have and receive. And he thought it was through a winery, like through the tasting of the wine and the taste buds, etc. And then it's like, oh, someone putting a pair of pearls on. Like, you guys have probably, if you've seen photos of me and stuff, oh, I think it's on here. The Marbe pearls here that I have on. I remember the first time I tried those Marbe pearls on, and I was like, oh my God, it was like, I can't wear these. And I ended up, I actually got them, and that night I wore nothing but the pearls to bed because I was like, this is amazing, like, you know, on my own in bed with these pearls on. But it was so extraordinary. And it was like, but it was like reaching for a greater future. So everywhere that you haven't been asking for and reaching for a greater future, can we destroy and uncreate it? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So whatever it is, please don't negate what it is that you're asking for and what you desire to ask for in your life. Because as I said before, your life is your business is your life. Okay? It can be anything. And all the blank spaces that you go to where you destroy and uncreate it. All right, and I'm good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Just tap into somebody else next to you and go, oh, that must be what it is. I'm just kidding. So what futures are you actually capable of that you refuse to be, that as long as you refuse to be it, guarantees you don't have to create something greater for all eternity? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. How many of you have the point of view that somebody else can do it and they could do it better than you, so you may as well not give it a shot? I mean, I don't know if this is a good example or not, but Colonel Sanders, you know, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, he got his winning recipe at the age of 82. So he didn't go, oh, I'm hit 55, 60, I'm retiring, or, you know, it didn't work. He kept trying this recipe that he wanted to do with the fried chicken. And at 82 years of age, that was his winning recipe, and that's the one they used. And it's like, how many 82-year-olds do you know that just keep going and keep going? So it's like, where have you decided that you have to give up rather than demanding to so much more to create a greater future? Justine, international PR business, not just an Aussie chick. So everything at that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Can I use you as a guinea pig? So Justine's our PR agent. She's absolutely fantastic. She's amazing. She's based in Australia. She knows a lot about Australia and she's comfortable in Australia. We have definitely pushed her limits because we are in over 173 countries and we're like, Jazzy, what can you do here and what can you do there? And it's like, and now it's like I get she's actually looking at what it would take to create this international PR business in different languages. And it's like, how many of you have limited what you could create or do because you only speak one language? So everything that that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So what futures are you actually capable of that you refuse to be, because it's like, what are you refusing to be, that as long as you refuse to be it, guarantees you don't have to create something greater for all eternity. And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You know what the beauty of this question is here in this process right now, and so many of you have been to level 2 and 3, is you're so fried that you can't actually use your heads to think about it. It's like, you know what, let's just ask, demand, and whatever that is, because you don't have to work it out. This is not about working it out. It's about following the energy. I mean, when I hired Rebecca, who's the manager of Joy Business, I literally went, you know what, I want to hire you and I would love you to come work for Joy Business. I'm not sure what that is though. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but the energy felt like it was going to expand something. So we've just played with it ever since.
Yeah, and I don't normally take jobs that I don't know what it's going to look like
or
have any sense at all what it's going to look like. I would go, this sounds like something I'll probably end up being taken advantage of.
Well, do you remember you actually sent me an email and said,
I did.
what's the deal and deliver? And I went, what do you mean what's the deal and deliver? I was like, let's just go.
What are you looking for? What are you expecting? What do you want me to do? What are you looking for? What do you want to create? It threw me. It really did.
And what's it been like for you now?
Amazing.
That's not set up. I'm not going,
no,
hey, Rebecca.
Really, but here's the thing. It's given me this almost like this vessel or something that I can really go nuts and create with. I've always had this space to create. You've never made me wrong. You've never limited what I can create either. And I know that there is so much more I can create, and there's always this, and we get to move on, and we get to create more, and there's always something else, and there's always more and more and more that hasn't always been present in any of the other businesses that I've worked in.
Cool, and I think that's also the key thing is, what if there was always more, okay? What if there was always more and more and more available? So whether you've limited what can show up in your business because it's in some industry that they've defined what it should be, where you destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Now, the joy of business is not about going into business and laughing hysterically every day and you're like that annoying, really joyful person all the moment. That's not what it's about. The joy of business is the willing to change it, to choose it, to let it go if necessary. And it's to hire people, fire people, to do everything that's possible, okay? And it's to be able to confront any moment that occurs. And it's in some places it's really uncomfortable, but if you know where you're heading, and it's and you know what you'd like your future to be, not linear, but an energy of it, then you'll keep choosing whatever that is that matches that energy and move forward. I had a business called Good Vibes for You years ago. The idea of that business to me was to wake people up. I wrote this whole big thing on it when I started the business about I desired people to be vulnerable with each other, and when they met each other that they didn't sort of go and put all these walls up, that they were actually vulnerable and they pushed their walls down. And I literally wrote it that way, going and pushed their walls down, and when they met each other it was more like this, hey sort of energy. And I desired to create that business, and I had all these stickers and magnets and t-shirts and things with sayings written on them that I perceived could change their reality. So you can imagine when I first met Gary Douglas and went to the first seminar, I was sitting in the audience going, holy shit, this guy's talking about everything I wish to create, except he actually had tools and processes that made it work. Instead, I just wanted to grab people by the shoulders and go, don't you get it? There's another reality out here. This is not it. But the Access Consciousness tools match the energy of what I would like to create. So of course I was my first class I went to was around Christmas time, and I approached a facilitator and said, I want to do Foundation 1, and he's like, oh no, it's Christmas time, no one will come. And I was like, how many people do you need? And he goes, 4, and I went, I'll do it. And I got 4 people, and we had a class right at Christmas time, and then I was like, okay, what's the next thing? And just kept demanding more. And then before I knew it, worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness, and then moving on. And it keeps, and anything that comes along that matches the energy, you keep choosing it. So it's not a matter of working it out. And it's I haven't ended here. This is not the pinnacle. This is what's next? As Rebecca said, more. What else is possible? What else is occurring with Access Consciousness that we've not yet asked for, we've not yet instituted? And everything it doesn't allow that to show up, where you destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. 2 of my favourite questions at the moment. Ask them with your business. What possibilities are available that you've not yet asked for? And what possibilities are available that you have not yet instituted? And if you work with a team of people, you're a boss, you're an employee, whatever, go in and ask every single person there, because every single person has a different awareness that can actually add to what's showing up. So ask them, hey, what possibilities are available that we've not yet asked for? What would you choose? Ask for their awareness. It doesn't mean that you have to give up on your awareness. What you're doing is adding to it all. So you have this spherical awareness of possibilities. And that's what business is. It's about creation, and it's about choosing, and it's about the willingness to change anything that shows up. Okay? So everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it, yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Chris, I keep thinking you're about to say something. No? Okay. So what future possibility are you refusing that you truly could be choosing that if you would choose it, would magnetize way too much money and business possibilities with total ease? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Let me run this other one again. What futures are you actually capable of that you refuse to be, that as long as you refuse to be, it guarantees you don't have to create something greater for all eternity? Everything that is, that all eternity thing hits you, right? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Ziggy, you had a question?
I think it's...
You gave up your mic?
It's okay.
Okay, cool. You had a question too, yeah.
I have a question, Simone.
Sure.
I'm very good at bringing money for anybody else. If I'm in partnership with anyone else, currently I'm bringing in $15,000 to $30,000 a week in the business that I'm working with at the moment. It's just I don't seem to be able to do that for myself. Is there something I'm not getting?
No, why don't you just come work for us, Joy Business? And then you're fine.
Happy to do it.
Okay, so what are you unwilling to receive about money for you? So what is it that you're unwilling to receive with money? Everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it, and I'm sure it applies to nobody else in the room. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So what would happen if you received money?
I could change the world.
Okay, so you don't want to do that. How unkind are you being at the moment? So everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. But thank you for asking the question, and have a look at this, everyone. I mean, like I said to you earlier, I literally had all these justifications in place for receiving money. My first thing, as I said, was, it's not about the money, it's not about the money. And the second thing was, I'll do good things with it. And it's like, fuck, why don't you just have money? And I mean, I remember years and years ago, I was in Amsterdam at a class that Dane was doing, and he said to me one day, hey, what if you just earned money and it was just yours? You didn't have to go buy stuff for people, you didn't have to spend it on people. And I sat there going, oh. And I realised that as soon as I was making money, I was trying so hard to get rid of it. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. It's like when I first met Gary, I was $187,000 in debt, and I pretty much had nothing to show for it. And you wouldn't have been able to tell. I wasn't one of those people who walked around doing trauma and drama of, I have no money. I just was $187,000 in debt and kept increasing it. So, and luckily, my father, brilliant man, very, very kind. When I first met Gary and Dane, and then Gary was doing a class in San Francisco, a business class, and I spoke to my dad, who was my accountant at the time. And I said, I'd really like to go to this class. And he looked at me and he goes, well, it's going to cost you about $10,000, by the time you go there, ticket, everything. And he goes, but I think you have to go and see if this is what you'd like to choose. So it was never about the money. It was about what matched the energy of the future I would like to create. And I am forever grateful that my father empowered me to make that choice, because I still could have made that choice, but he made it very easy for me to do that. So everywhere that you haven't been willing to follow the energy and you have been making it about the money, truth, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes?
Simone, I grew up with my dad. We were in the hospitality industry.
Who else grew up with a dad? No, I'm just kidding.
My dad was a really amazing man, and he had some awesome dreams, but they were far ahead of his time, and ended up going bankrupt here in Noosa, actually. And then he went into another business, of which I ended up being a director, which is building. And the business went bankrupt because the accountants were not really keeping us up to date with what was going on, and we lost that as well. So personally, I went bankrupt and moved and went back to my roots, which were hospitality and organising events, conferences, functions, and loved doing that, and just built my own personal wealth back up to where I was. And then when I met my husband, he's a stockbroker. Mm-hmm. And I remember just feeling so relieved and thinking, he can just take over and look after all that money side, because I don't want that responsibility based on what's happened to me in the past, and I don't want to have to be responsible for that again. And since then, I've just let him virtually do most of it, and I know I'm capable of earning it, but it's not that I don't have a drive to earn it. Like, I've got a drive to help people, but I don't have a drive.
So what did you decide when you went bankrupt? Or what did you decide when your dad went bankrupt?
Well, he put all that effort into it, and and got nothing out of it.
Okay, so everything at that is where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all named shorts, boys and beyond. So would you be willing to look at bankruptcy in a totally different way?
Yeah.
What if bankruptcy was just a creation? Because what does this reality say with bankruptcy? You're bad, you're wrong, oh, you messed up.
Failed, yeah.
You're not very smart, are you? You're like, it's got all these judgments and projections. It's almost like the word that you whisper, it's drugs, bankrupt, And it's like you get ridiculed, it's like, all of that. So everything that is, wow, that's interesting. So everywhere that you've all done bankruptcy and all the judgments that you've had at it, all the projections that you've actually put upon others as well, not just in this lifetime, in any lifetime, can we destroy and uncreate it on 3? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So what if bankruptcy was a way to create something different? I've got quite a few friends who, not quite a few, like, hey, I've got this gaggle of friends who's done bankruptcy. But I do know a few people, like, that have gone bankrupt. And the one thing I've noticed is if they had a judgment about it, that's what stuck it and stopped the creation. And if they're not in judgment of it, it actually is like this, fresh flower blooming, and it's like, and there's a whole new brand start available. So what is money? Money's energy anyway. So it's like, what if you're just using this reality to your advantage? And everywhere that you haven't been willing to use this reality to your advantage, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all named shorts, boys and beyonds. And what else did you decide when your father went bankrupt? What's that?
I think it's a struggle, and that it's kind of like he lost a lot of face, like a lot of self-worth, and yeah.
See, this is the funny thing, okay? Sorry, this is I get excited about this because what if you were willing to lose face? What if you were willing to fuck up? What if that was the joy of business? What if 10-second increments, what do? You choose in 10-second increments. And then, hands up, who's all woken up in a bed with someone and gone, shit. Really? I chose that? What'd you do? You got up and left, okay? Same thing with business, same thing with money. Okay? And it's like, you get to choose again. And it's like, but maybe that's a story, a little notch to your belt, I don't know, whatever that is. But what if you could never lose face in business, and what if you could never lose face with money?
Because there was a lot of guilt behind it, because it hurt a lot of families, a lot of people. In fact, when I was part of the business that went bankrupt here, which was the building business, I couldn't stay here. I had to leave. And I went back to Brisbane to do what I love to do, and started afresh, and was going to make it for myself, and did. And yeah, when I met my husband, I was earning more than he did. So I didn't count it as a
everything that part about you earning more than your husband when you met him, would you be willing to earn 10 times the amount he's currently earning?
Yes.
Truth? See, this is the thing. What if business and money was literally fun?
Yeah.
What if it was like, hey, how much money are you earning now? How much money am I earning? And what if it was not secret? What if it was not hidden? What if it was just this joyous occasion? And you had it and then you didn't have it. Have you ever bet on the horses?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Okay, so you bet on the horses and it's like, do you judge yourself for losing, or do you just get damn fucking excited when you win?
Yeah.
And it's like, what if that's what business was like? What if that was having money? So everything of that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all named shorts, boys and beyonds. Can you all see how much significance is projected about business and money, and doing it right and doing it wrong? And you have to get it right? According to who?
And I think that what you said about having to get it right, it's like now I'm starting, and it's like, oh God, I've got to make sure everything's going to be in place. And I haven't published my pages or published my blogs or anything like. I'm just. And I know it's not a fear of what I've said or what I've put out there. It's just what's... And then there's the money side of it.
Okay, so hang on, stop for a second, because this is really good, because this is not just you that has this going on. I'm sure everyone in the room's like, thank God she's asking the questions. So, so for For what reason are you not publishing what you currently have? That.
Because once it's out there, I'm out there and there's no going back.
So everything that is, we destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. When I wrote this book, do you know how hard it was to get it out? Because I was like, I've just got another read of it. I'll get someone else to read it. And then I remember Blossom said to me, do you want me to read it and tell you it's good, or do you want me to read it and give you feedback? And I was like, shit, good question. And I literally was like, no, I want you to read it and tell me it's good. But I realised that was my point of view, and I was so concerned about people reading it and not liking it or what they would judge me of. Why do we do that? It's insane. And it's like, what if we were just willing to put it out there? And it's like, okay, you put a shit book out, you put a shit product out. What do? You choose again. Like I said, most of you have all woken up in a bed with someone that you went, not the best choice, I'll choose again. Okay? So it's like, what if your business was in 10-second increments as well? What if it was just an interesting point of view of what worked and what didn't work? And what if you played with it? And what if every single choice you made added to the energy of what you could create as your future? It's like, what futures are you denying yourself by what you're limiting yourself today? Yes. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Interesting when I ask that question, hey, how much energy are you all holding on to? Like, contracting yourself to make sure that you get it right, and I am doing the thing that this reality will accept and no one will laugh at me or judge me, etc. And it's like, wow, what if you were just willing to get it out there, whatever it is? I mean, look at all Einstein, Da Vinci, and it's like, they were all judged to the max.
I also get that it's a recognition thing a little bit for me too, because when I worked in hospitality, because of going through that, what I perceived as the failure of bankruptcy, when I got into hospitality...
The joy of failure.
The joy of the pain of bankruptcy.
The joy of the pain of bankruptcy. So everything that is times a godzillion. Everywhere that you have a joy of failure, this is one topic we actually cover in the Joy Business classes. We destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds.
So when I ran these events and conferences and functions and came up with all these weird, wonderful ideas on how to have people have amazing events, I got a lot of recognition from that, and I brought in a lot of money into the hotel from where I was working, and letters and that kept coming in. So it was kind of like someone was kept doing a great job. And so, yeah, when you get out there and doing it by yourself, and there's no one patting you on the back saying
no, but you're doing
a great job. Yeah, and so I suppose part of the fear of attachment to sending out some of the stuff is, well, what are people going to say? And I know that's part of judgment, but it's also part of unless someone's telling me that I'm doing something.
It's okay. So everything that is, and everywhere that you're relying on somebody else to acknowledge you before you actually choose something, truth, we destroy and uncreate it, and all the insanity around that, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, this week, what if you did 5 impossible things, 5 things that you've decided are impossible? I did this telecall not long ago, and I've got this segment in my book, Alice in Wonderland, and there's this segment on it, and where the Queen says, they're talking about doing impossible things, and she says, why? I sometimes do as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. What if that was your point of view? What if you did 6 things that you decided was impossible, or that you couldn't do, or you're waiting on something, waiting on acknowledgement, waiting on permission, waiting on not to be judged, waiting for it to be right, waiting for the money to show up, waiting for something? What if you didn't wait any longer? Whatever reason and justification you have for waiting, truth, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good. Truth, really? Yes. Yeah, enough? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So I'm really grateful for you bringing it up, because it touches on so many different things in people's realities, and it's like, none of it's real. Do you get to judgment isn't real? I did this class one day, and a certified facilitator was sitting in the class, and she goes, I just get that questions actually empower. And it was so fun. Everyone was just like, well done. And you're a facilitator, but you get it when you get it. But it's funny, because it's like questions do empower, and an answer will disempower. And how many areas of your life are you functioning from question, and how many areas of your life, especially in business, do you function from answer? This reality teaches that you have to have the answer. work it out. You have to have a budget. You have to have a business plan. You know, you have to have a degree. You have to have. So all the have to haves with your business that you've decided is more right than what you know. Truth, we destroy and uncreate it. All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, hang on 1 second. Sorry, I know there's a couple, but there's just one. What else did you decide when your father went bankrupt? That. What's that?
I can't bring it to comment if I don't know.
Okay, so everything that is, can we destroy and uncreate it?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. Yeah. Hi. Katie, I think you just need to turn it on the top.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yeah, cool. Just a couple of things. Thank you so much for tonight, and thank you for your questions. They really resonated with me too. I had my first business in my early 20s, so I had a cafe, and we tripled the turnover within 3 months from when purchasing it. So it increased to such an extent, and we're so successful, and then it's like I just want to backpedal because it's like I just felt
How are
like
you going to do that again?
Well, I felt like I was going to get scared or something.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Truth, was that really your first business?
No.
Did you make mud pies when you were a kid? Did you sell them? Paint? Sell the pictures?
Yeah, I think there was some of that going on.
So tap into the energy of when you were a child and you were creating. And it's like, I mean, some of you have heard this story, but a little while ago, Nash, my stepson, he was drawing these pictures, and he actually is in this room, and as you left the room, he had them all at the door, so you literally had to walk over them.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, they're $5 or 2 for 10. You know, it was like no discount, $5 or 2 for 10. And some had lots of colour, some just had a few strokes on it. But his point of view was, these are $5, they're worth it.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy some from me? And pulled energy massively. He made so much money in one night. It was so interesting. And he came home that night and he said, I think I'm going to start a website. I'm going to start a company. And we're like, what's it going to be called? And he goes, The Art Shop. And then we were like, okay, cool. And 10 minutes later, he's going, no, it's going to be the Art and Craft Shop. Because you could see he was like, I've just limited myself if it's just the art shop. I need to expand it, you know. But it's like, how many of you actually did stuff as a kid and, you know, you sold stuff, you made money, and it's like, or you had a bartering system, whatever it was, and everything that you gave up at that age and decided that it had to be significant rather than the joy of business. Truth, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What if you looked at your business like a kid? What would you play?
Lots of games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and would you try and get it right?
Not
Would
really.
you be like, hey, what do you want to play with today? Who do you want to talk to?
Yeah.
Who can we play with? Because that's literally what business is. Okay? You play with it. You choose something, and choice creates awareness, and you find out what happens and you can choose again. So
Yeah.
everything that you decided that was the most successful that you could ever be, truth, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
That feels so much better. Thank you. There was another question, but I've just forgot it.
Well, let me ask you this. What have you guys decided success is?
I feel that to everybody else, especially those around me who are playing really small, that it triggers them and then they start not liking me. So, you know, family,
The
close
old
friends,
tall poppy syndrome.
that whole thing, which is not even real.
No, it's not. But like I said before, judgment's not real, and that's based on judgment. Do you get judgment is not real? One of the things that I remember Gary saying to me years and years ago was the day he realised that judgment, all it did was take you into a big black dark hole, he demanded in his life that he was not going to judge anyone or judge himself anymore. Has judgment ever, ever got you something greater? So everywhere that you're creating judgment as more valuable than your choices and the creation of your choices, truth, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
I recalled the other thing. So with what I do, I'm really good with finance and business and balancing people into like what they want to earn, and I do it really quickly. But in the business world, there are a lot of people who are just the plain old humans, and that judgment and the energy coming from them. And one day I was told by this very successful businessman that I should stop doing what I'm doing and go get a real job because, you know, to him it didn't make sense. And I think that really affected me too, like that.
Okay, so there's a few things with that too, because you said a very successful businessman. So what have you decided is a very successful businessman?
Well, I suppose, just started up a lot of businesses. He actually went bankrupt at one stage, but he was a multi-millionaire.
So everything at that is times a Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Like, it's like the thing that we talk about in Access with the thoughts, feelings and emotions. When you're a kid and, you know, you look at someone and they're, you know, crying or they're doing something and you go, well, what's going on over there? And someone goes, oh, they're really sad or they're really upset or something. And you align and agree with that point of view of what that is. And it's like, so how many of you have had a projection upon you of what success is? I mean, heck, like, you know, in some countries, just having food on the table is success. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I mean, we muck around and talk about our first world problems. Like, Dane and Brendan were talking today about how they had jet ski blisters on their hands. It's first world problems. Do you know what I mean? But it's like there's
That's a real issue.
It is a real issue. I know, Dane. Yeah, I heard both of you. But so it's like, what has been projected at all of you of what success is? That it's like, do you calibrate it by the amount of money that you have in your bank account, or that you're a failure by the amount of money that you don't have? That you have a briefcase, that you wear a tie, that you wear high heels, that you wear nice shoes. That it's like, what is it that you've decided success is that it isn't? Wow, everything at that is times a Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. How many clients do you have to be a success? What's the amount of money that you've decided that you have to earn to be a success? So everything at that is times a Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So if we go back to what I was talking about at the beginning with creating your future, okay? And then have a look at what it is that you would like your future to look like and be like. What would you like to be like in your future? And include your business. Now, one of the stories that probably some of you may have heard it, but I think it's a great story to talk about success, is with the business I had, Good Vibes for You, I had, like I said, stickers and magnets, etc. And one of them was imagine what you'd do if you knew you couldn't fail. And it was a magnet. And I had this lady call me up once and she said, look, I just want to thank you. She said, I've been married for it was like 10 years or something. She had 7 or 8, too many kids, 7 or 8 or 9 kids or something, just pumping them out. And she said, every day I woke up and I cried. She said, my husband's been beating up on me for many, many years and I thought that's what life was. And someone gave me one of your magnets and she said, I've had it on my fridge for the past 6 months. And she said, she said, I looked up your company and I wanted to find you and I wanted to thank you. She said, I've left my husband now and I have my kids and I'm building my life and I'm creating it and I'm really happy. And I don't wake up crying anymore. And I was like, yes. And it was like, that's a $5 magnet. So how can you calibrate your success based on a $5 magnet? And I probably sold it at, $2.50 or something as wholesale. So, and then my profit margin in that, etc. But it's like, how many of you go to the profit margin of your business rather than the energy that you create in the world? Mm. So everything at that is times a Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What if you were willing to give anything a shot? Any idea that you have? And it's like, Gary talks about getting a little book and stuff and writing down any of the ideas you have. And do this to look at what you'd like to create as your future as well. Anything you like doing, because I can guarantee you what you have fun doing and what you think has no value is usually what you can make money from. So write down, I like baking cookies, I like walking dogs, or, I like doing people's hair, or, I like talking to people, whatever that is, and keep writing this list. And do it for a week and keep writing on the list. And then look at it like every day and go, okay, so, can I make money from any of these, or can any of these be a business? And you'd be really surprised at what can show up. And ask the universe to assist you as well, okay? Request of the universe to actually assist you and show you what possibilities are available that you have not yet asked for.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kate. Stella?
So, the writing, okay, for so long, like 14 years or something, I was in a full-time job, you know, and I hid behind going there every day, getting my regular income, and then I'd step out of that for a little while and dabble in this and play in that area and stuff. And then I left that job, and now it's like, it's
No,
up
stop.
yeah.
You complained about that job for quite a while, but couldn't leave because you didn't know what you were going to choose next. And then that was quite a while. I learned there's a few people in the room that know you, and it's interesting to see what you have created. That moment that you chose to leave that job, what happened?
There were so many possibilities open up to me that it's actually overwhelmed me. And
Has it really overwhelmed you?
it's like, which one do I do? There's so many things.
So what do you do now? What do you choose? Do you just choose? And then it creates an awareness?
Well, one is dominating. And
Dominatrix? No.
No.
Hey, that's a choice.
No, wrong word. One is really prevalent at the moment, and I get all these ideas of where I could take it and how much more fun I could have with it. And then there's this other thing where there's a product and that's out in the peripheral.
Okay, so what questions are you asking for all of them? Like, is this for now or the future? Is this ready to physically actualize? Who does
I'm
it
getting
require
yes,
to
but
talk to?
I have no idea what.
Okay, so it's such a fine line of going to a conclusion and an answer as well. You have to remain in the question. And it's like every moment of the day, every second, you have to remain in the question. There is no answer, there is no conclusion. Nothing you are choosing right now is a conclusion. Would you be willing to have that? Would you be willing to be that out of control? Everything that doesn't allow you to be out of control, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearities, out of concentricities, truth, where you destroy and uncreate it, control freaks of magnitude, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So it's like, if you're getting a yes, right, then it's like, okay, cool, so then what next? And it's like, and the yes, what does the yes mean to you? That it's going to work? That you have to pay it more attention? That you have to, like, what have you decided about the yes?
The yes to which.
When you said I'm getting a yes on this certain business, what have you decided the yes is?
I have to put all this over here and then go down that road.
Cool, thank you. So everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yeah.
And this is what happens all the time, and I see people destroy and uncreate all the future possibilities that are available rather than going, oh, okay, cool, so I'm getting a yes here, but you're not cutting off any of this. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So who or what else do I have to add to my life, to my business? Who could actually assist with that? Or you might get a yes, and it might be 1 day, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months or something, but these ones over here are still yelling at you, and you pay these attention, and this one might not need you for a year, or it might not need you for a week, and then it goes over here, and it's like, what if business and the creation of your business and your life was like this juggling act, and it all worked, but you didn't make it mean anything? Because the second you go, oh, this isn't working because it didn't make me money, or this isn't working because I didn't get much feedback, or I didn't get acknowledgement and pat on the back for this one, you destroy it. So all the possibilities right now, in this lifetime and any other lifetime, that you have destroyed because you've gone to the doubt or the judgment of what you have created or not created, or the conclusions or the limitations. Truth, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Would you be willing to have all those possibilities show up now? Yes. All of them? Yes. All of them. All those businesses, all that money, everything that the universe has been going, hey, I was just about to show, and then you go, no, it didn't work. So everything that is. Truly? You ready for it though? Yes. Okay. So everything it doesn't allow that to show up on 3. 1, 2, 3. And then a 4 for more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Thank you. How many more businesses could you add to your life that you've been unwilling to acknowledge?
This is what's happening. There's like, this is.
How cool is that?
And then I look at all the fun things I can do with it. So I rock up to one job one day with an apron, and I think, oh, what would it be like if it was a red apron? And then what would it look like if I had young girls that rocked up in their red aprons? You know, like, and then
Brendan would be happy.
Yeah.
Little nurse outfit.
And then I think, how do I get from here just me?
Okay, so did you hear what you just said?
Yeah.
You have all this. Look at the energy, and this is what so many of you do. Look at the, and then I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I mean, it's like a muscle, okay? This is not like, this reality is not saying to you, hey, go choose everything that you would like to choose. Give it a shot. Give it a bust. Your family's not doing it with you and going, hey, do whatever you'd like to have. You know, my family was always like, get a good, safe job. And some of you may have that rare family that is empowering to actually choose something greater. But you're not. Most people are not surrounded by that. And it's like you've got to play it safe. So everywhere that you've decided creating a future is playing it safe, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds.
it's the.
So what would you like to have as your future?
I've kind of got it now, but it's. I stop it somewhere.
Okay, you've kind of got it now. What if you just actually... Okay, so do me a favour. Shut your eyes. Rebecca, go in the handbags. No. Shut your eyes. For at least 5 minutes. No. Shut your eyes. And look at the energy of what you would like to have as your future. There's no thinking about it. There's no limitations. There's no answers. There's no conclusions. It's an energy. Okay? More. And all the control freaks, shut your eyes. Except for the film crew. Okay, more. Ask again. What would you like to have as your future? And all of those limitations and all those answers and all those conclusions and the projections and the separations and the judgments that have been impelled upon you, can we now please destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so open your eyes. And it's like, can you perceive the calmness of like that sense of peace that you can have that can create your future?
Yes.
And but it is like a muscle, okay? It's like every time you get to that place where you go, oh, but I think about this, or I kinda, or it's like when you have that energy sort of thing, it's like you've got to be the one that goes, you know what, enough, stop. And go, okay, so is this actually the future I'd like to create? Or would I like to ask for something and demand for something far greater? Because this is your life. This is not a dry run. It's not a test run. This is your life. Are you living it and creating it the way you would like to? And guess what, guys? Your business adds to it. Your business is the creation of your life. So everything that is and everything you haven't been willing to acknowledge with that truth, we destroy and uncreate it. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Nice necklace, by the way, Stella. So, Costa.
So, this kind of come up when Stella was speaking with something about get a good job, and you were saying that.
No.
When Stella was this
not
is
get a good job.
Or get a job, or that, or whatever that is. Somewhere.
Hang on, who said that? What are you? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Like how you were saying get a good job.
No, I didn't say get a good job. I didn't even say get a job.
I know that, that's. Oh no, in trained when you were there. Okay, so I'll break this down. When you were saying you were traveling, and that.
Oh,
and
when
then
I got back,
yes.
and everyone said get a good, safe job.
Yes,
like a job
yes.
in a bank or something. And excuse me, if you have a job in a bank, that's great. But it's like got that.
And then when Stella bring up that thing about like multiple things, like having
multiple possibilities.
Multiple possibilities. Something really hit me with an oath. Like, is there an oath? Is there something there that? Okay, is there something there that isn't trained from a family thing for me personally?
What is it?
Like oath or sureties.
So what's the projection at you from your family?
That if you have too many jobs or you have too much stuff going on, you actually can't create one thing.
You can't. Yeah. So
even like when Stella actually left council, like
so everything that is, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I was in a business with an ex-boyfriend at one time, and he used to say to me, you know what, you need to get yourself together. You need to finish one thing and then move on to the next. And of course, I thought he was wonderful, so I was like, he's right. So I'd be so frustrated going, must finish this one thing and then move on to the next. And it's like, how many of you do that? Or do you do 55,000 things at once? And it's like, so everywhere that you haven't been acknowledged that that's actually a talent and ability and a capacity, truth, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. But this is the thing, you have to make the demand of what you'd like to create your future as, no matter what anyone says. I mean, two of the things I always used to ask for too is, no matter what it takes and no matter what it looks like, this is what I'm demanding will show up. And guess what? Sometimes you can't tell anyone. You speak to where people can hear.
Okay.
Okay? If you're demanding something, just choose it.
Okay.
Give it a shot. See what happens. See what shows up. Have you got a mic?
It is such a contribution when someone does say that it's okay to do multiple things and you don't go into the wrongness of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, you're welcome. But you know what?
Yeah.
Gary taught me that. I mean, he owns a multi-million dollar business, Access Consciousness, in over 173 countries, over 3,000, facilitators with people coming out of everywhere. And he also owns horses, 2 horse businesses. He owns an antique guild. He doesn't limit himself. And he was always like, what else can you create? Just because I'm the worldwide coordinator of Access doesn't mean I can't do anything else. The reason I'm standing here and I wrote that book and I'm doing a Joy Business class is because of him. He was the one that empowered me to do that. What if there was many different businesses and creations you could have and receive? What if there was never too much? So everything at that is times a Godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I know there's a few of you with questions.
Glenn just started off saying the questions keep changing because you keep answering or putting information there. But he's aware that he creates all the time, yet he feels like he's missing something, that some of the things he'd like to see created are taking so long. And is there something that he can be or do different to speed that up?
Wish I had more information that welcome to my world. I feel like everything takes forever. But it's like, what if that was you being the humanoid, and what if it was actually happening quicker? Like, what if things were happening quickly and you haven't been acknowledging it? And it's like, I mean, Gary calls it Simone time. Because I remember I had this accident on a horse and I was like, it's been 3 days. And he was like, it's been a day. And I was like, no, it's been, and I literally thought it was 3 days. And he's like, so they call it Simone time because nothing ever goes fast enough for me. So everywhere that you're expecting this reality to move as fast as you, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, what if you could add more things to your life?
Definitely the acknowledgement is something that he's not looking at and gets caught up in thinking that he has to wait for other people to facilitate him when really that's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so cool, Glenn. I love the energy that you create from, and what you can create in the world by being you is quite incredible. And it's not just Glenn either. It's all of you. I mean, if you've noticed, a lot of the questions in the Access manuals are always about what can you be? It's not like, okay, let's do our to-do list. What can you be? What have you been unwilling to be that would change your whole entire life, change your reality, and change the businesses you currently have? And everything at that is times the Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Susie, what are you unwilling to be? What are the animals asking for? For you to be way more known than what you currently are? So would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that and actually follow the lead of what the animals are asking of you? Yeah. Truth? No matter what it takes, no matter what it looks like? Yeah. Cool. Everything at that is times a Godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I'm allowed to pick on my friends. Viv, and then you. Yeah.
And you can pick on me too. I have a sneaking suspicion these two
questions...
questions...
Well, that actually can apply to you
I
too,
know,
honey.
I know,
What are you unwilling to be that the animals are asking for that you've been refusing to acknowledge? And everything at that is times a Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So I have a sneaking suspicion these two questions are related. The first one was the acknowledgement. A couple of times you've touched into that. And for me, the awareness I had just then was when I was acknowledged, I disappeared as fast as I could in the other direction. So what was I not willing to
So what were you not willing to receive? So Viv, we did this thing one year with Access. Choice creates awareness, okay? So we have all these facilitators all around the world, and Gary and Dane thought, you know what we'll do? Each facilitator class, the person who's put the most people through the classes, we will acknowledge them and honour them, and we will gift them a class, like the next facilitators class. And we thought, well, that would encourage people and give them some enthusiasm. Every single person we did that to, what did they do? Disappeared, ran away. Viv was one of them.
So what is that?
Well, what is it? What have you...
So
yeah.
when I had that awareness of what I'm not, every time somebody would acknowledge the magic I was being beyond this reality, it was almost like it was a non-reality. I couldn't
so what are you supposed to do with magic? Have it out in the open or hide it?
Oh, hide it.
So everywhere that you guys have all decided, because you are magical beings, infinite beings, everywhere that you've decided you have to hide that and keep that secret, and God forbid that someone actually sees it, then you better run 1,000,000 miles. Truth, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Like, it's literally like, what if you were willing to be naked in front of everyone?
Stand aside.
Stand aside. Come on, everybody. But it's like, it is. Like, that's the original reason why I started that business. I told you, Good Vibes for You. I desired everyone just to be vulnerable with each other and have no judgment of each other and just have all their walls down and just be like, hey, what's up? Doesn't mean that everybody has to be best friends and hold hands and sing Kumbaya, but it's like, but what if you were willing to receive everyone and everything?
Okay.
I mean, I love the analogy of nature. If you look at nature, nature doesn't have a judgment. 4:23 in the morning though, every morning at the moment, the noisy miner outside my, Brendan's like, what do you want for Christmas? This stud gun thing? And I was like, no, I'll just get up.
Yeah, and yet nature is the one place that I know I'm me, whether I'm with the horses or the dogs or...
So what if you pretended that everybody was trees and flowers and animals?
And horses and greyhounds. Cool.
Yeah. But look, use whatever tool works for you. But please, guys, stop hiding. Start creating your future the way you know it can be.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a joy of business class, and it's like, I know people think that it's it's business. We're going to do business plans and that. No. And it's like, this is about what you'd like to create as your life, the adventure of living.
So then the next question is, this is going to sound maybe really, for you, completely bizarre, but I attended a business summit here a couple of weeks ago, which was actually brilliant. It was all about humanoids and how they kind of went through the side door to create what they truly desired rather than having the traditional job.
Yeah.
And the first guy that stood up, the compere, stood up and said, well, we're all in business to create a profit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Profit? Oh my God, I hadn't even factored in.
Looked at that.
Profit? No. And I'm like, okay, no wonder I'm earning, and this is how I see how small I'm managing to keep my life, my classes, what I choose. Can you help me change?
Yeah, I can, and I'm going to put a whole twist on that. Because it's very interesting. I've never actually done anything for money. What if it wasn't about the money? What if it was about maximizing possibilities and not maximizing profit? Now, it's a totally different way to have a look at it, and it's like, but if you look at them, if you asked every day, what would it take for me to maximize the possibilities with my life and my business today? And everything it doesn't allow that to show up, destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. We talk about money follows joy, and joy doesn't follow money. And it's like, and people always think, oh, if I make X amount of money, then I'll be happy, then I'll have this. And it's like, no, you can actually choose that right now. And it's like, so profit is very much in this reality. And the interesting thing is, people put sex and relationships together and they put business and money together. It's not like that. You've got sex, you've got relationship, you've got business, you've got money. All those four things are actually different entities unto their own. Hell, you could do money and sex and relationship and business. It's like they can intermingle, but everybody automatically puts, if you have a business, you have to be making a profit. Now, would you like to be making money? Yes. And there's at one stage, Gary and I sat down, because we had so many businesses years and years ago, and looked at all the businesses and literally went, okay, so which ones are bringing in money and which ones are maximizing the possibilities, basically creating consciousness? Because consciousness is what we're demanding, and some of the businesses weren't making a huge profit or weren't making much money, but yet energetically they were such a contribution. So then over here it was like, oh, but this one's a money spinner. Great. So what if there was no judgment about it, but you looked at it and looked at how, like if you're asked for maximizing possibilities, and it's like, I can almost guarantee you that money will start to show up.
So the last few months being in Europe, I did probably more classes in 1 month than I have in the last 2 years facilitating.
Yeah.
And made more money in those few weeks than I have for probably a long time.
Yeah, but you do need to, this is a weird thing. I'm in Australia and I get so few people at the classes in Australia. I'll pock and pod that it's like I'm not as popular in Australia as I am overseas.
So what I got to, I'm totally with you on this, because I've never really asked for the money to show up, because for humanoids, money's not really an issue until you don't have any or you want some. So I've always been able to create it, but I've never yet created the excess. And I'm talking about me creating it, not where...
Yeah. So what energy, space and consciousness can you and your business be that would allow you to have too much money and never enough? And everything at that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Look, the thing is, it's not about excluding profits. It's about not making it about the profit. Because if you look at any business or you look at creation, there is no, in creation, it doesn't talk about profits. It's creation, okay? So, but if you make it about profits, and that's all you're going to end up making it about, and how much do you exclude from making it about profits? Where if you make it about what is it that you would like your future to look like, what is it that you would like to create as your future with your life and your business, and you choose things that match that energy, then you'll lead into that, and you ask for money to show up too. Like I said to you at the beginning, when I, asked for things to show up in my life, I forgot to ask for money, and then I, had to move in with my parents, and it was like, oh, I need to ask for money too. So it's like right now, will you ask for money to show up in your life as well and show up in your businesses, but you don't make it about that, okay? So everything that doesn't allow money to show up in every single business and idea that you have, truth, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And then I know you got there, Cherie. I'll come to you next.
Thank you for taking my question.
You're welcome.
The last couple of months have been very difficult since I actually started bars. I know everyone has a euphoria time, and I
didn't. I hated bars. I thought they were a waste of time.
No, I love it. But 3 bars classes, level 1 foundation, then 2 and 3 within kind of 6 months has been huge. Mm-hmm. And I felt that there's been a number of things that I've been doing that or creating. So I created a new job. I'm moving from where I didn't want to be to a new place, but I don't want to be there now after being there last week. I was in Melbourne recently to see this new place and couldn't get my flight to Bali because of the volcano ash.
Oh, yeah.
And then I've come to spend time with incredible friends of my parents over the weekend who were, one of them was killed in the car accident in Caloundra yesterday, and the other woman's in critical care. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, seriously.
So where are you meant to be? Are you meant to be everywhere that you are? Yes. So, okay, so because it's like if you, everything that you choose, because it's like if you go, oh, I was meant to move here, but then I didn't, and then it's like, how many judgments do you have on each thing that didn't happen? Like, you're meant to go to Bali, but you couldn't get to Bali, so then it's like, if there's an underlying judgment rather than just like, oh, okay, life just changed, and it's like, and then something moves on, it's like, have you been a gift being there at the moment with what's occurred?
I don't know, because I'm in an empty house, because she's in...
Okay, so truth, have you been a gift by being up here?
Well, I think he's trying to get a message to me, so...
Okay.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. So it's not potentially, it's either yes or a no.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So everything that you haven't been willing to acknowledge with that, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
The bigger question is that out of all of the shit that has gone on for the last few months, we sat down with someone in Melbourne to do our business plan to do this amazing space that we want to create. My husband and I, who has come along on bars as well, and fucking amazing man. But You said business plan wasn't good.
No. Okay, so no, it doesn't necessarily mean that. No, don't. Hey, anything I say, if it doesn't make you feel lighter, don't trust me. Trust you. Okay, that's very important. Don't trust me.
No, but I didn't like the whole experience. It's
You
kind
didn't,
of like,
or you did?
No, I hated it.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
like,
So business plans. Most humanoids with a business plan. Once the business plan's done, you're done.
That's what.
And then you try, and then they go, "Whoa, you're going to institute it," and you're like, "No, it's done. It's finished. I wrote
I'm
it."
scared of being in that
Yeah.
Pico.
Well,
Is it Pico universe?
how many business plans actually work out? It's like how many budgets, how many people stick to budgets? How many projections are always correct? None of them. And it's like human reality says that you have to have a business plan, you have to have projections, you have to have a budget, etc. And it's like, I've done them. And it's like, it's not something I enjoy, but sometimes something is required. Like I've had investors in business, and it's like, so then they require something. Some don't. You might meet the random one who's just willing to do a handshake. Cool. So ask for those investors to show up that are willing to actually go with their knowing and trust what they know. And everything that doesn't allow that to show up, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And some of them might just need a one-pager. And some of them might just need to have a chat. But you know what you have to do with every single person that you're working with like that is ask, what do they require to know? What do they require to hear? What's going to, make this work? Because every single person is different. Okay? So business plans, it's not that they're bad, but it's like use them to your advantage or get somebody else to do it as well.
And what would it take for you to use our space when we actually have it?
Can you use your mic?
Oh, sorry. What would it take for you to use our space
Cool,
when we
give me the
actually have it?
details
It's going
of
to be
it.
fantastic.
Sure, love to. So I don't know, Jonas is going to Melbourne soon too. You might need a venue. Yeah. You never know. So Cherie.
I just wanted to say that I did all my photography, blew it up, put it out there, and I have had so many people come to me and say, I said, I just see the work and that, and they go, where? And like no one's seeing it. Even Deb walked in, she said, Cherie, I didn't see it. And it was just like, and I've had so many people say this to me.
Okay. So is that true? How many people have noticed the artwork out there? All right. So, okay. How many, look, do it again. How many people have noticed it out there? So are you willing to actually be aware and receive that?
Yeah.
Or what about the handful of people Deb's hasn't been here the whole time either.
Yeah. But there was
we're willing
other
to
people
acknowledge
that
the people who haven't
through
seen
class
it. What's that?
There was other people that came up through class
Okay,
and said
hang on
it.
a second. Are you more comfortable with people not seeing it than people seeing it?
Yeah.
That would be a yes, Bob. Okay. So thank you for bringing it up, because this is something that occurs for so many different people as well. So everywhere that you're more comfortable receiving judgment, receiving ridicule, receiving the projections of the failure, the joy of failure, can we please destroy and uncreate it? All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And be willing to, receiving is a big word. It's got a big R. And we're not taught to do it in this reality. And it's been one of those things that from the moment I met Gary has been in my face. So what if you could even ask in the morning, it's like, okay, what could I receive today that I've been unwilling to receive yesterday? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and men. Okay, who thought about sex? So everything at that is times a godzillion. But sex, Tim, you're in for a good night. So, but sex is about receiving as well. Okay? So everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Sorry, I know there's been questions. Was there anyone else who had a question that had a mic or a hand up or something? Yes. There's a switch on the top.
This isn't really a question, it's more of a comment. I don't know if you remember, Simone, I did thank you, midget mic. I did a phone, I think it was 3 phone calls with you about business, and you asked me, when did you leave your business? Because business in Cairns has been pretty challenging for several years now, and I was starting to feel like no matter what I do, it doesn't work, no matter how much I try, how different I am, all my, and I was really, it was getting to me. It really was getting to me. And you asked me that question and I went, oh, I hadn't realized I'd left my business. So then I tried on, I'm going to get out of my business for a week and I'm going to sell my business for a week. And guess what? Now I love my business. I'm having a blast.
How does it get any better than that?
It's getting busier and busier. I'm having fun every day. And that doesn't mean I don't still want to do other things. I do, but I'm just, it's made a real shift. So it made a huge contribution to me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting too. It's like with the business plan and things like that, like when you write a business plan and then you're done. And it's like how many of you have ideas for a business, you start it and then you're done. Like I destroyed 3 very successful businesses before I met Gary because for me, what I realized was I liked creating a business. So once it was created, once it was happening, once it was making money, and then it was like the maintaining it or something, I got bored. So what I did was destroy them. And then when I met Gary, I was about to destroy the current business I had. And he looked at me and he went, "You do realize you don't have to destroy a business to start another one, right?" And I was like, shit, I realized that that's what I'd done. Because every time I destroyed it, I'd go, oh, well, I'll start another one. Because that was the fun factor for me. So instead of that, you look at what it is that your business requires. Most businesses require a creator, a connector, and a mover. And it's like there's some people who are great at startup businesses. There's some people who are great at the institution. There's some people who are great at the maintaining. There's some people who are great at being the mover and seeing what's required for the future. So you look at the energy of what your business requires and add that instead of going to the judgment and the negation and destroying or stopping what can show up. Guess what? You don't have to do everything yourself. Everywhere that you haven't created a business because you have decided that you have to do everything yourself, truth, we destroy and uncreate it. All right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and girls. Breathe a sigh of relief. Really? I don't have to do everything myself?
Interestingly
No.
enough, Simone, I actually do everything myself.
Cool. But do you like it?
I do like it.
Yeah. But
I
you
like
might
it.
like it. And
I-
it's like,
I
I
do
mean,
like
I've run
it.
businesses on my own for a long time, and you're probably what we call a foundational person, which is good at creating, connecting, and moving. And it's like, I'm a foundational person, but connecting, strangely enough, I meet thousands of people all over the world, is not something I enjoy. I prefer the creation, I prefer the moving. But I can connect if I choose to. So it's like you start to have a look at all of this. Hey, I know have we got questions over there?
We have a few.
We have a few, okay. So I am going to start to end up, but I just wanted to mention too, we've got flyers up the back for, at the risk of being a little advert here, is Rebecca Holst is actually a Joy Business Facilitator, so is Michelle over there. Do we have any other Joy Business Facilitators here?
Delaney and Lauren Marie.
Delaney and Lauren Marie and Karen. There's a few of them around here. They're like trees growing. No, we're doing, Rebecca and I, she's got a Joy Business 101, which is a full day class. You get a manual and you get lots and lots of these tools that we're talking about. And then followed by Joy Business 102, which is the adventure of business and living. And it's in Mooloolaba. There's flyers up the back. It's happening in December. If you want to come and visit us in Mooloolaba. It's also live stream. So if you're out there in live stream land or you guys are going home back to Melbourne or something, you can still jump on live stream. So I strongly encourage you to have a look at doing those classes, whether it's with me and Rebecca or somebody else. Because what I've seen is people change their whole reality with what they can create. And then business does become something that is more of a creation and not a necessity. It's a choice. And what usually happens with that is more money does show up, more choices open up, more possibilities are available. Okay? More fun. Ziggy came to the class. So you came to facilitators too. We had Joy Business Facilitator training in Mooloolaba last year. This next year it's in Copenhagen. So you can come to Denmark. Lovely restaurants, great wine. So Rebecca, what questions
Now that
do you
you're
have
talking
there?
about wine, you're going to get me distracted. Liz Walker is creating a new business play, as she calls it. And she wondered what you suggest if they still have a plan for the next month, quarter, year, or simply create day by day. When something shows up, do you ask, will this be a contribution now, 5 years from now, etc.? And how can we contribute to our business by having a product staircase?
By having what? Sorry, what was the
A
last part?
product staircase.
What's a product staircase?
I want to know. I'm really curious. I do not know.
Ask her, what's a product staircase?
Liz, we want to know.
So, okay, so I would say, though, a lot of the questions that you're asking are actually very applicable. And it's like, I'm not sure what you mean by you've got a month plan out, because it's like if you've got a, I think this is what, I mean, like it's like if you've got a plan for your business for the next month, etc., and it's like, keep asking questions, be willing to change it, be willing to stick to it, be willing to, you know, let go of it, and it's like be willing to add something else, and it's like, because possibilities are available every single day. Literally, there's this movie called Auntie Mame. It's a very old movie, and there's a scene in it where she's this extravagant auntie, and she says, the universe is a banquet, and people are starving. And that's literally what it's like. There are so many possibilities available for each and every single one of you, and every day you refuse it by a judgment, by a decision, by a limitation, by a thought, feeling, emotion, a point of view, or something like that, rather than just having the choice and the freedom and that sense of peace to choose anything with no judgment. No judgment at all. What if you never gave up, you never quit? What would you choose? What would you give a shot? What would you try? Just because you don't have a degree in it doesn't mean you can't give it a go. And it's like, who would you have to meet? Who would you have to talk to? You guys are doing so well. It's really funny standing up here when you look around, all the people who've done level 2 and 3, and they're like, so you're doing really well.
So a product staircase is a journey for the customer. So an access that starts with the free tools online, then the bars, foundation, level 1, etc., and so on.
Cool. So be willing to have that as one of the things that you have as like a campaign to, you know, add to your business, and then be willing to actually have others. I mean, we're in constant creation with Access, with Joy Business. It's just like, and what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And some of them come to fruition today or this week, next month, and some of them don't until 2 years, or you take a piece of it and you end up using that little piece over there. So it's like, just because you have an idea doesn't mean you're a failure if it doesn't come to fruition, but it's like, use it and then add something else. Don't make that the pinnacle. Don't make that the answer. So everywhere that you've made any part of your business the answer, truth, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Any others?
I do. Catherine is asking, I just don't believe I can actually change my financial situation, that I can actually receive money and have money flow and more than I can send.
Then you won't.
And she's also asking about past expenditure, and it's really heavy, and she's asked a lot of questions. What can she do?
Okay, what I would actually highly recommend is the How to Become Money workbook. Victoria, oh, not that, sorry, she's online. Go up the back and see Victoria. No, see, anything is possible. Come through the computer. Do you have, oh look, the lovely Victoria. She's my lovely personal assistant.
For everyone online, you can go to Amazon.com or to the Access Consciousness shop.
How to Become Money workbook. This is a book that Gary Douglas, the first one he ever did. It was actually channeled by Raz, the Mad Monk of Moscow. It's brilliant. Brendan and I just did a telecall, which you can buy on our website, $300. We read through the book. We answered questions. We ran processes and stuff. I think there's a, you did it, didn't you, Carol? Yeah? No? Oh, okay. I know Margie did. There's a few people in here that did it. It was so frying. It was incredible. But why was it frying? Because it's designed to change every point of view you have about money. And it's like, it was interesting. One of the questions in here, which if she's talking about past expenditures, one of the chapters in here was, what do you have more of, debt or money? Nearly every single person on our telecall said debt. And then we took a moment and went, okay, so are you really in debt? Including Rebecca, and she's like, hang on, I'm not in debt. Brendan did the same thing. He was like, debt. And then he went, I'm not in debt. I actually have money. And it's like, so how many of you, that's the first thing that you go to is, oh, I'm in debt, because that's what everybody else is doing. So I'll be the same as everybody else.
And she actually said that she's done the money workbook and she felt really ill after she did it.
Yeah, I felt really dizzy and ill, and that's what Raz will do to you.
Yes.
Do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again.
And running bars while going through it actually really helps, just as my personal recommendation. That's what Mum and I did, or we were just like, I felt like I've been pulled through a bush backwards and then slapped. So I was like, should we run bars while we do this? And it worked.
And the other product I would recommend too is the Money Isn't the Problem, You Are, which I love that title. We were at an expo in Auckland one day, and this couple are walking up the stairs, and the guy looks at his wife and goes, see, money's not the problem, you are. We were like, that's not quite the way it was supposed to be taken. But I love that title, and that book literally got me out of debt. I used those tools, but you know what, you hear these tools, and if you're sitting there thinking, oh, that tool works for the person sitting next to me or for somebody else, and it's like, oh, I'll use that next year or next month, or that'll be my New Year's resolution, well, you destroy and uncreate it and start using the tools today. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all night, shorts, boys and beyonds. Literally, the tools that got me out of debt was my 10% account, carrying an amount of money around with me that I perceived a wealthy person would carry, and the willingness to change my point of view. Every single time I found that I went, I can't, or I can't have, or I had a limited point of view about money, like I can't afford it or anything, I would stop and go, okay, POC and POD everything that is. And I used to have a post-it note on my mirror, and it said, POC and POD everywhere that I have uninvited money today. And every day I read that. Great tool. POC and POD everywhere that you've uninvited money today. POC and POD everywhere you've uninvited possibilities today. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad. POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds.
We have more on that. She said, what question can I ask to challenge my stuckness or fear? She knows she is the problem. Sorry, my body's getting really sore. What? Say that again. What question can I ask to challenge my stuckness or fear?
Any of those questions I just used, I would ask, because it's like, and what if it wasn't about having to challenge yourself? What if it was about relaxing into change? What if you were willing to have the relaxation of change with no judgment? I mean, the challenge is having the courage to use the tools. So what if it wasn't about challenging? What if it wasn't about a fight? What if it was about the relaxation of change? And everything it doesn't allow you to relax into change, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Cool, thank you. So thank you so much. Thank you, Stream Team. Thank you, Joy Business Team. Oh my God, you guys are wonderful. And I thank you for being here. Thank you for your questions. And if you're interested, come to the classes in Mooloolaba or come see us at some point. But my desire, my demand is, what would it take for you to use all of these tools and actually start to create the future with you and your adventure of living, and create your business as you truly desire it to be and what you know it can be. Okay? So thank you so much, everybody. And thank you to the translators. I think you guys are amazing. That's one of the things I think I would never be able to do.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't speak another language, so I would be in problem.
The French, the
Turkish, the French.
Polish,
We've
the
got
Japanese.
lots of languages out there in live stream land. So thank you so much. Bye-bye. You're welcome.